So multi-purpose river projects and integrated water resources management. Okay, how this multi-purpose river projects actually it helps in the management of the water resources of our country. Okay, because in our country water is not equally distributed. There are few areas where there is the people they suffer from acute water scarcity. The people they suffer from quantitative water scarcity. Okay, so through this multi-purpose river projects, actually the government is trying to manage the water resources, to distribute the water resources equally throughout our country. So let us study in details about this multi-purpose river projects and the integrated water resources management. So as we know that as we came to know that water is a very important resource and it is not equally distributed, and there are various factors which are responsible for the depletion of these water resources. Okay, there are various important causes which are responsible for the depletion of the water resources, like pollution is one of the main cause. Okay, then excessive utilization of the groundwater resources. Now water is being used in the industries, in the agricultural sector and all. Okay, so this is the reason that water is getting depleted day by day. Okay, so we need to conserve it, those water resources actually. So how will we conserve this resource, or how will we manage these water resources actually? Okay, see. So this management or the conservation of the water resources can be done through various steps. Okay, through various measures. Okay, like making the dams. Okay, by integrated water resource management programs and all. Okay, watershed management programs and all. So like the archaeological and the historical records, it shows that from ancient times we have been constructing sophisticated hydraulic structures like dams. Okay, we have been constructing sophisticated hydraulic structures like the dams, built of stone rubble, reservoir or lakes, embankments, and canals for irrigations. Okay, so the archaeological and the historical records. Okay, according to the archaeological sources and the historical records, from the very ancient time only in our country, okay, there was the existence of the dams. Okay, the people they constructed the dam in the ancient times also. Okay, which were made up of the stone rubbles. Even the peoples they built up the lake reservoirs. Okay, lakes were being carved out to store the water. The embankment dams were being formed. Okay, and the canals were being constructed. Okay, in the earlier days also, in the ancient time also, to supply water. Okay, to supply water to those areas where there is a demand of water actually. Okay, so not surprisingly, we have continued this tradition in modern India by building dams in most of our river basins actually. Okay, so like what happened in the ancient days, actually in the same way actually we have continued our tradition in the modern day also. Okay, in the modern India also, by constructing the dams and also, okay, in the river basins. Okay, so some of the examples of these hydraulic structures in India. Hydraulic structures in India basically refers to the dams and all. Okay, river projects which were constructed during the earlier period, actually ancient time. Okay, so some of the examples of these hydraulic structures in the ancient India are like in the 1st century BC, like in the Sringaverapura near Allahabad, had sophisticated water harvesting system channeling the flood water of the river Ganga. Okay, so during the 1st century BC, okay, like there was an construction of this water channeling system, like canal system actually. Okay, near Allahabad, and where during the rainy season, actually the excessive water in the river Ganga, okay, the flood water in river Ganga was channelized. Okay, it was being transported to the other areas through this technique actually. Okay, so this is one of such example of watershed management. Okay, water management program in the ancient time actually. Not only this, but during the time of Chandragupta Maurya, the dams, the lakes, and the irrigations were extensively built. Okay, even you have studied in your history also. Okay, like during the reign of Chandragupta Maurya. Okay, more emphasis was given on the construction of dams, on the formation of the lakes and the irrigation systems. Okay, just to increase the agricultural system. Okay, to increase the agricultural productivity of in that period of time actually. Okay, even there are evidences of sophisticated irrigation works. Okay, evidences of sophisticated irrigation works have been found in Kalinga near Odisha, in Nagarjuna Koda, okay, in Andhra Pradesh, Benur in Karnataka, Kolhapur in Maharashtra. Okay, so these are the evidences actually. Okay, like some like archaeological sources, remnants has been found in these areas actually, which shows that water management, okay, water management was priority in these areas as well. Okay, like in Odisha, Andhra Pradesh, and all. Okay, so these are the few examples which focus, okay, which tries to which provides us information that in our country, the construction of the dams and the multi-purpose projects are not a new concept actually, or not a new idea actually, but this construction of these dams, reservoirs, lakes, and all. Okay, it has, like it was practiced in the earlier times also. Okay, to help the people. Okay, get water actually. Okay, so this tradition we are still continuing. Okay, this tradition of reserving the water, of conserving the water, is still continuing in our country. Okay, and we are constructing the dam in the rivers actually, like some of the important river valley projects are like the Hirakud Dam, the Nagarjuna Sagar Dam. Okay, the Tehri Dam. These are some of the examples. Okay, like which has examples of the dams which has been constructed in the present day actually. Okay, just to benefit the agricultural system of our country, as well as to supply water to those areas where there is a crisis actually. Okay, so even there are also examples that during the 11th century, the Bhopal Lake, one of the largest artificial lake of its time, was built. Okay, and not only this, but in the during the 11th century, okay, the Bhopal Lake was also built actually. Okay, it was like artificial lake was built just to conserve water, just to store water. Okay, so that during the time of need, the water can be utilized from this lake. In the 14th century, the tank in Waj Khas near Delhi was constructed by Iltutmish for supplying water to the Siri Fort area. Okay, so in the 14th century also, like there is a record that a tank was constructed in Waj Khas. Okay, Waj Khas is the like ancient name of a place near Delhi actually. Okay, and Iltutmish construct the tank. Okay, just to supply water to the Siri Fort area. Okay, so these various archaeological and historical records, it shows, okay, that dams and the water projects actually, okay, they existed in the earlier times as well. Okay, so here you can see that the image of Hirakud Dam. Okay, and it is a multi-purpose project. Okay, it is a multi-purpose project. Before, the dams were constructed just to store the water actually, but nowadays the dams are being constructed for generating hydroelectricity. Okay, for fishing, for navigation, for irrigation facilities and all, and this is the reason that they are known as the multi-purpose projects. Okay, so now let us study what does the term dam mean. Okay, in the modern sense, what does the term dam means actually? A dam is a barrier across flowing water that obstructs, directs, or retards the flow, often creating a reservoir, lake, or impoundment. Okay, so what is a dam? A dam is a barrier actually. Okay, it is a barrier across the flowing water. Okay, that is across a river actually, which obstructs the flow of the water, or which helps in directing the flow of the water. Okay, often creating a reservoir, lake, or impoundment. So you have, like, if you the examples of these dams you can see in our local area also. Okay, in and around Siliguri also you'll find that the dams has been constructed actually. Okay, so if you go to Kalijora side, you will be finding a dam has been constructed on river Tista. Okay, by NHPC, National Hydel Power Corporation. Okay, and the main objective of this dam is to generate electricity. Okay, so these dams are basically referred to the reservoir rather than the structure. Okay, so basically dam refers to the reservoir. Okay, the area where the water is being stored. Okay, so dam basically refers to the reservoir rather than the structure which is being constructed. Okay, and most dams have a section called a spillway or weir, over which or through which it is intended that water will flow either intermittently or continuously. Okay, so in these dams actually, okay, there are some spillway, there are some passages through which the water will flow actually. Okay, either it will flow continuously or through gaps actually. Okay, so the dams are being classified according to the structure, intended height, or purpose. Okay, so the dams which are being constructed in our country actually, they can be classified, okay, on the basis of the structure, on the basis of the height. Okay, on the basis of the structure, that is on the basis of the materials used actually, the dams can be classified into various types. On the basis of the height of the dam, it can be classified into various types. So based on the structure and the materials used, okay, based on the structure and the materials used, the dams are classified as the timber dam, embankment dams, or the masonry dams with several subtypes. Okay, so these dams can be classified as the timber dams. Timber dams like are not being constructed nowadays actually, but these are the dams which were constructed in the earlier time actually. Okay, means they used to, like, with the help of timbers and all. Okay, the people used to try to obstruct the flow of the water. Okay, to obstruct the flow of the water in the small rivers and all. Embankment dams, okay, like on both the side of the river, the embankments were constructed actually, okay, to store water. And the masonry dam with the help of the cements and all. Okay, so according to the height, the dams can be categorized as large dams and the major dams. Okay, and according to the height of the dams can be classified as a large dam or a major dam, or alternatively as a low dam, medium dam, and high dam. Okay, and high dams actually. So basically, on the basis of height, their dams can be classified as large or the major dams. Okay, or it can be classified into three categories: low dam, medium height dam, and the high dam. So please write here important. Okay, this paragraph is very much important because here you get the classification of dam and the definition of dam actually. Okay. So dams are actually not the structure which is being constructed. Okay, not the structure which has been constructed here, but the reservoir where the water is stored actually. So okay, so this is a dam. So what are dams actually? Okay, so these dams actually helps in managing and conserving the water resource. We store the water, okay, by blocking the way of the river actually. Okay, and this water is later on used for different purpose. But sometimes the water is being channelized. Okay, the water is being channelized into other directions through the help of the canals and all. Okay. Dams were traditionally built to impound rivers and rainwater that could be used later to irrigate agricultural fields. Okay, so the dams were traditionally built to impound rivers. Okay, to increase the volume of water in the rivers. Okay, or to store the rainwater actually. Okay, and this water can be used later on to irrigate the agricultural fields. Okay, but today the dams are built not just for irrigation but for electricity generation, water supply, for domestic and irrigational use, industrial use, flood control, recreation, inland navigation, and fish breeding. Okay, and the dams which are being constructed nowadays, that is the modern dams actually. Okay, so these dams are constructed not only for irrigation, okay, but for electricity generation, for water supply for domestic and industrial purpose, for controlling the flood, for recreations, okay, as well as for inland navigation and the fish breeding. Okay. And hence, the dams are now referred to as the multi-purpose projects, where the many use of the impounded water are integrated with one another. Okay, so the dams are now referred as the multi-purpose projects. Okay, why? Because they perform various like they are being utilized actually. Okay, for different purpose. Okay, the dam is being utilized for different purpose. Okay, the water in the dam is used for different purpose actually. For example, the Satluj Bias River basin, the Bhakra Nangal project. Okay, the Bhakra Nangal project water is being used for hydropower generation and irrigation. Okay, so the Bhakra Nangal project actually, which has been constructed on this Satluj and the river Bias River basin actually, it is used for hydropower generation as well as for irrigation. Okay, similarly, the Hirakud project in Odisha. Okay, the Hirakud project in the Mahanadi basin in Odisha integrates conservation of water with flood control. Okay, so the Hirakud project, okay, it has been constructed to conserve the water as well as to control the flood actually. Okay, so here you can see that the dams, they perform not only a single purpose actually, okay, but they perform various functions. Okay, and this is the reason that they are known as the multi-purpose projects. Okay. So the multi-purpose projects launched after independence with the integrated water resources management approach were thought as the vehicles that would lead the nation to development and progress. Okay, so these multi-purpose projects which were launched after independence. Okay, that means the multi-purpose projects which were constructed after the independence actually, they were okay, they were considered as the vehicles actually. Okay, they were considered as the vehicles which will help the nation to develop. Okay, which will help the nation towards development. Okay, overcoming the handicap of its colonial past. So Jawaharlal Nehru proudly proclaimed the dams are the temples of modern India. Okay, and Jawaharlal Nehru, he said that the dams are the temples of modern India. Okay, because it will help the nation. Okay, it will help the nation. Okay, in various ways. It will help the nation to increase its agricultural productivity. It will help the nation. Okay, to supply water to the water scarce areas. It will help the nation to okay, to generate employment and all. Okay, so the reason behind that, okay, so why did Jawaharlal Nehru say that the dams are the temples of modern India actually? Because it would integrate, okay, it would integrate the development of agriculture and the village economy with rapid industrialization and growth of the urban economy. Okay, so these dams, okay, or the multi-purpose projects will help in integrating the agricultural sector, okay, along with the industrialization. Okay, so both the agricultural sector and the industrial sector will be developed, okay, and which will help both the rural and the urban economy. So ultimately, the entire country is going to get benefit, okay, from these dams actually, okay, from the hydropower projects. So this is what about the multi-purpose projects actually. Okay, so what are multi-purpose projects and why they are considered as the multi-purpose projects? Okay, and why they are not known like simply called a dam in the present day. So in recent years, the multi-purpose projects and the large dams have come under great scrutiny and opposition for a variety of reasons. Okay, but in the recent years, the construction of the dams or the construction of these multi-purpose projects has been opposed by various NGOs, non-governmental organizations, or by different groups of peoples actually. Okay, so why the construction of these dams or the multi-purpose projects are now being opposed actually by the different people in the society or by different NGOs actually. Why? What is the reason actually? That we are going to discuss. So in the recent years, the multi-purpose projects and large dams have come under great scrutiny and opposition for a variety of reasons. Okay. And regulating and damming of rivers affect their natural flow, causing poor sediment flow and excessive sedimentation at the bottom of the reservoir. Okay, so regulating the flow of the water and stopping the water actually, okay, it is actually hampering the natural flow of the water. Okay, so the river, like the entire system, okay, the entire ecosystem in and around that particular area gets affected. Okay, and another important problem which emerges is the sedimentation. Okay, sedimentation takes place because when the dams are being constructed, what happens? The water it comes, okay, from the higher altitudinal areas and they get obstructed. Okay, they are being obstructed and the water is being released. Okay, like on a very small amount every day. Okay, to generate hydroelectricity. Okay, so what is happening? The sediments which are being brought down by the river actually from the high altitudinal areas, they get deposited in this dam. Okay, and they cannot pass. Okay, they cannot pass this structure. So what is happening? The level of sediment, okay, the layer of sediment deposits, okay, in this area actually it increases. Okay, the sediment deposit increases. Excessive sedimentation takes place actually. Okay, at the bottom of the reservoir. So which results in rockier stream. Okay, which results in rockier stream, and as well as sometimes what happens? There's an overflow of water. Okay, the capacity of the reservoir to hold the water reduces. Okay, and there is a spill of water, there is an overflow of water, and there are chances that it may causes flood actually. Okay, not only this, but also there is a destruction of the habitat. Okay, there is a destruction of the habitat for the habitat of the aquatic life and all. Okay, because the aquatic life, they have their own natural habitat, okay, for their survival, but obstructing the flow of the water actually is hampering their habitat. Okay, and it becomes quite difficult for this aquatic life, okay, to survive. The dams also fragment rivers, making it difficult for aquatic fauna to migrate. Okay, and the dams, they also fragment the river. That means it is dividing the river. Okay, because on one side, if you go to this areas actually where the dams are being constructed, you will find that on one side of the river, okay, there is a huge amount of water. Okay, the water is being stored, and the other side, it is totally dry. Water is not there, or very less amount of water is there actually. Okay, so what is happening is the river is getting divided into two fragments. Okay, and the aquatic life, they cannot migrate from the high altitudinal areas to the low areas because they get obstructed by this reservoir, by these dams actually. Okay. So the reservoirs that are created on the floodplains also submerge the existing vegetation and soil, leading to its decomposition over a period of time. Okay. And sometimes the reservoirs, okay, which has been constructed in the floodplains actually. Okay, the main objective of constructing the reservoirs in the floodplains is to control flood. Okay, is to control flood and channelize the flood water to the other areas where there is a demand of water. Okay, but what is happening in those areas actually when the water is being stored for a longer period of time? Okay, in the surrounding areas, the vegetation cover, okay, they come under the water actually. Okay, the existing vegetation cover, they come under the water actually, and it causes degradation, okay, of this vegetation cover actually. Okay, and sometimes the vegetation cover, okay, and sometimes the vegetation cover like it gets degraded, okay, like the trees they like because of soil erosion and all the soil, okay, the trees they cannot stand for a longer time and they fall actually. Okay, so there are a lot of problems actually which takes place in the surrounding areas near the dams. Okay, so this is the reason that the construction of the dams are now being opposed. Okay, the construction of dams are now being opposed by various organizations. Okay, so this is actually some of the these are actually some of the reasons, okay, that why the construction of dams are being opposed. Okay, but apart from this, okay, there are also some other factors. Okay, there are also some other causes, okay, behind behind the cause, like the people are opposing the construction of the dams. Okay, because the local people they are being displaced. Okay, the local people are being displaced from their own places. Okay, they lose their livelihood and all. Okay, so this is also another important reason actually. See, the multipurpose projects and the large dams have also been the cause of many new environmental movements like the Narmada Bachao Andolan and the Tehri Dam Andolan. Okay, and you have heard about these two movements actually, the Narmada Bachao Andolan and the Tehri Dam Andolan. Okay, these are actually some of the famous movements which were launched by the like some NGOs as well as the local people. Okay, and they protested against the construction of the dam on the river Narmada, as well as they constructed against the construction of Tehri Dam in Uttarakhand actually. Okay. So resistance to these projects has primarily been due to the large-scale displacement of the local communities. Okay, so why the people they resisted against the construction of these dams in the on the Narmada River as well as like the Tehri Dam actually. Okay, they protested against the construction of Tehri Dam because a large-scale displacement of the local communities will take place. Okay, because the area where the dams will be constructed in those areas are like a larger area will be deforested. Okay, basically the dams are constructed in the hilly areas. Okay, so wherever the dams will be constructed, actually a large area needs to be deforested. Okay, and like the people they have to construct the embankments on both the side of the rivers. Okay, and the dams has to be constructed. So when the large forested area will be deforested actually, and the local people who are living in and around these areas actually around the dams actually, they will also be displaced actually. Okay, they will be forced to migrate to some other places. Okay, so this was one of the main cause. So if the people they migrate from their native place, or they are forced to migrate from their native place to another place, that means what is happening? They are losing their livelihood. They have been living in those places for hundreds of years, more than 100 of years. Okay, and suddenly if the government orders them to migrate to some other place, okay, they will be totally like they will lose their livelihood. They don't know that what they will do in the new area, what kind of work they will be doing to earn their livelihood actually. Okay, so displacement of the local communities will take place, as well as on the other hand side, okay, they will lose their livelihood. So local people often had to give up their lands, livelihood, and their merge access and control over the resources for the greater good of the nations. Okay, and these local communities actually, okay, they have to give up their land to the government. Okay, they lose their livelihood, and like they were having access to the natural resources in those areas through which they used to earn their livelihood actually. But now they are forced to give up all those things. Okay, for the betterment of the nation, for the good of the nation actually. Okay. So on one hand, you see that a few local communities actually, okay, they are deprived, okay, they are displaced, okay, and they are affected. But on the other hand, okay, after construction of the dam, okay, who will be benefited? These local peoples are not going to get any benefit. So who will be benefited actually? The people living far away from these dam areas actually. Okay, see. So if the local people are not benefiting from such projects, then who is benefited? So perhaps the landowners and the large farmers, the industrialists and few urban centers, okay, they are going to be benefited from the construction of these dams. Okay, so the problems are being faced by the local communities. Actually, they are being displaced. Okay, but on the other hand, they are not getting any kind of benefit actually. Okay, and who is getting the benefit? The landowners. Okay, the large farmers who will be getting the water for irrigation, like the water which will be stored in these dams, it will be supplied through the help of the canals. Okay, and it will help the landowners and the large farmers to carry out the agricultural activities. The industrialists will be benefited. They will get water for industrial production. They will get electricity at a cheaper rate. Okay, and even the people living in the urban areas, they will be benefited because water will be supplied to those areas. Okay, so they will be benefited actually. So who are not getting benefit? The local people. So this is the reason that resistance, there was resistance against the construction of the dams, okay, throughout our country. Okay, and movement started. Okay, movement started against the construction of the Narmada Dam and against the construction of the Tehri Dam actually, because the people, they demanded means they will allow the construction of the dams actually, but okay, the government should think some alternatively for the local people. Actually, the government should help the local people to relocate. Okay, should provide them with some new employment opportunities and all, so that okay, both the people they are also not affected. Okay, and they are also benefited by the construction of the dams. Okay, so this is what about the multi-purpose projects. Okay, so what are multi-purpose projects? Why they are known as the multi-purpose projects, and why the multi-purpose project, the construction of the multi-purpose projects is opposed nowadays, that we have discussed. Okay, so the next part, we will be discussing about the Narmada Bachao Andolan. Okay, means what is the main story of this Narmada Bachao Andolan? How did the people, okay, they came, they protested, okay, they formed a group, they protested against the construction of the dam. Okay, that we'll be discussing in our next class. Okay. So today till here only. So from your side, if you have